All right, and plus I got one more thing else I need to actually discuss with y'all. Hey, we got a sister actually here on the radio broadcast here tonight. Y'all know her, Sister Tomah. She is from Liberia, which is in West Africa. You know what she's going to do? She's going to actually speak to all of us and to help us to understand the real difference between Eastern culture and Western culture. Now listen to me. Listen to what she has to say here real quick, because she's going to try to let us all in on the way that we should be functioning somewhat as a tribe, and how we should be thinking Eastern in thought and not after this Western paradigm that we have all been immersed in and absorbed in. Sister Tomah. Come on, Sister Tomah. Speak loud too, okay? That's the mic right there. And you can see it down here.
Okay. Shalom.
Talk loud.
Shalom, saints, brothers and sisters, far and near. This is Sister Tomah. And I'm here to share just the Eastern culture versus the West. I will do my best. I pray everybody listen and understand what I'm trying to say. In the East, like I said, it's almost similar to how it is here at Straitway. You have a chief who is in charge of the whole village. And to give you an example, that would be pastor. You know, everybody that live here is under pastor. He's the chief. And he is the one who is guiding us and showing us and teaching us. And under him are elders, teachers, and things of that nature. In my village, I grew up in a village, and my grandfather was the chief. And he has 7 wives. Now,
Now wait a minute. You mean scoot over here for a second, Sister Tomah. You mean tell me you grew up in a village that your grandfather had 7 wives?
yes, sir, 7 wives.
7 wives. And how did those wives get along?
Very well, because he didn't tolerate any misbehavior from any one of them.
So everybody was, that they understood that was your grandfather, was he a chief?
Yes, he was, and he was ordained an elder in his early years.
In his early years.
Yes, sir.
And the village, how did the village in itself function?
He was in charge of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, he had 7 wives. He had 2 sons, my father and his brother. My father was the educated one.
Uh-huh.
He was a mathematics scholar, so he kept the logistical running of the village in terms of everybody birth records, funds,
Mm-hmm.
business transaction. He dealt with that. And my uncle, he was somebody who works on car, so that was his role. And then when it came to the wives, he had the chief of the wife.
Mm-hmm.
She was the overseer. and she was designated to have head over all the wives and over all the women in the village.
Is that for the function of the community?
Yes, sir. And she was the one who pretty much showed us how to behave, talk, walk, and carry ourselves as women. An example would be here, let's just say here at Straitway, you have Mother Beasley, you have Mother Bullock, you have Mother Carol. Mother Beasley's job is to teach Mother Bullock everything that she knows. Mother Bullock's job is to be with Sister Carol, to watch her, teach her everything that she knows from her experience and Mother Beasley experience, to teach her. That was her mentor because of the position Mother Carol is in, because she is the chief's wife. She's pastor's wife. So it was her job to be taught by the elders of the lady to teach us, the younger one, and every other wives. So Mother Carol, because of the position that she is in a village setting, the chief of the wife, the overseer, if you want to call her that, will look out and pick either one of us, like sisters, to be her handmaid because of the position that she is in. So she has more responsibility because she has to take care of the man of Yah, or the chief, so that he could
better do his job
better, so that she, feed us and she feed us on the things that needs to be done. And like I said, the elder in the village, which is the chief, the overseer, she will look out and pick out handmaids and assign those handmaids to Mother Carol to be there at her every call, at her every need. You didn't have no opinion. You didn't have no say so. It's just function and flow naturally. We was born into that. We knew it was right, and we knew how to did it. Mother Carol, now like I said, she is over all the women. So in a village setting, if she was in the village, if I had an issue, I would go to her. She would go to pastor. Pastor would tell her, this is how you handle this, that, and that. Mother Carol will go to the other wife and tell them, okay, this is what the chief said, and this is what I'm going to tell the other women. The other wife, they didn't have no say-so in. You could talk, but you have to understand, she is in charge.
Right.
And the reason why is because she has the most experience, and that's her lot. I hope you guys understand.
Oh, I understand very, very well. You may be talking French to an American mindset, you know what I'm saying? But you're actually speaking not only the particular African culture, but you're actually speaking Hebraically as well. Because a lot of people, they really truly don't understand the differences in status and positions in this country. What do you say about that?
That is correct. I could be wrong, but based on my observation, sisters, we disrespect pastor because we disrespect his wife.
And that's something. That is true, because if I catch wind that you ever disrespected my wife, be you somebody else's wife, or be you here on the land, and I get wind you disrespecting my wife, I'm going to have some words with you, and ain't going to be no kind words, and I don't care if you married or not. Now, that's the way it's supposed to go down, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Because, like I said, we are disrespecting him who is in charge for us. If she tell you, sister, this is what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done.
So you can see very much so in this Western society that we are lacking in honor.
Very much so.
Is that the reason why I don't ever, matter of fact, I've never, ever even heard of a report of you ever talking crossways of Sister Carol, much less trading words, even talking back to her? Is that because of the culture?
Yes, sir. I have some characteristic in the East.
Oh, so you're going to give us the contrast between how people function in the East as opposed to people here in the West.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
you do know that even though we may be saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit, and all this other stuff, our sisters, as well as our brothers, even on the community, we have a very serious problem with trying to line up with the Hebrew heritage and culture that's in that Bible. And you can see that clearly.
Yes, sir.
So give us the difference between the Eastern culture as opposed to the Western culture.
In the East, we have restraint. We don't make a scene or show emotions. That's not saying I don't love you.
Right.
We have a formality that we line up with. We speak when spoken to, which is proper. We tolerate crisis. The West, here, you are self-expression. Your social skills is important to you, which get you in trouble because your mouth runs a lot. Here in the West, people do a lot of small talk, which is gossip, which also leads you into trouble. Over here in the West, they promote flexibility and change, whereas in the East, this is what it is, and this is how it's going to be done. That's it. The only change that comes is when the chief says what needs to be changed.
Because the tribal mentality.
It is.
And you can see the contrast in cultures right here as opposed to the different mindsets and the way people function.
Yes, sir.
Because trying to speak to somebody in the West after an Eastern perspective in the book, they simply just don't get it. They can't even comprehend it because one of their excuses is that we wasn't brought up that way, but we're still commanded in the book to be transformed by renewing of our mind, and we don't even know that when we have a well-oiled machine like that things actually function a whole lot better. That's not saying that people don't have their own thoughts, their own ideals and things like that, but everything in proper order and perspective. So you telling me that pretty much in this particular village that they don't have a lot of problems with attitudes?
Not at all. My father is my witness. We was very peaceful, very, very peaceful. From the little ones all the way to the elders, we was all peaceful. Like, it was so peaceful that my grandfather knew the day that he was gonna die, and gathered the whole village together and told us, tomorrow night I'm gonna be dead, and this is, how I would divide my inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that peace, like your soul was so much at peace than it is here. Like I said, in the East, we are indirect based, we are not confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask questions, we are very direct with our questions.
In other words, y'all let y'all yay be yay and your nay be nay.
Yes, sir. And I realized being here, when you are direct with a person,
They can't handle it.
they can't handle it, but that will also make them shame. So,
Why is that?
Because you are being very honest to them, and because they know inside that is right, that shameness is there, but they don't admit to it.
You know the reason why, don't you? It's because in this society we function, you've heard me talk about this before, after an abstract mindset, to where everything is kind of like a thought, a make-believe, nothing's concrete, if you understand what I mean. And they don't know that, the world says over and over and over again that honesty is the best policy. Over here they speak in riddles and terms, they speak in circles, they speak around, and they expect for you to try to pick up on what they're trying to say as opposed to speaking directly to them. Am I on point?
Yes, sir, very much so. The West, like Pastor said, everything is based on the obvious. People here are very indirect when you ask them questions, and then that indirect can make you frustrated and annoying, and it's very confrontational because you.
And that's what actually causes spirits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Based on harmony, like I said, we avoid conflict. We are very cooperative and very compromising. To the West, it seems like that's a weakness, but in a community, in a village, that's a very vital part of the community. Here in the West, everybody prefer knowing what someone else wants and thinks, and they assert their own opinion.
Oh.
In the East, we are from birth, you are thought to be very humble and to have a very teachable spirit, because you're supposed to respect those who are in charge, and you're supposed to be modest, sacrifice yourself in terms of your servitude and just serve. Where in the West is all about me. If I'm doing this for you, what am I getting back in return? Whereas in the East, that's not tolerated by all. And that's pretty much the foundation that I was raised on. And like I said, it ran very smoothly. And the challenge was being in America and learning a whole different way of thinking that I'm not used to.
Ooh.
And like Pastor said, it brought about spirits and conflict within yourself, within myself, because from a child, this is all that I have known. And then when a different way was introduced, it was very challenging.
So these things that American men and women, these attitudes, these expressions, these feelings and emotions, the things that they actually believing to be an expression of liberty is actually bondage.
Yes, sir, it is. Like I said, they taught us how to handle our emotions, our feelings. They teach you to just, like Sister Ashley's on the blog talk, people in the West, we are very soft here than it is in the East. In the East, yes, I understand completely that the scripture said that women are the weaker vessel, but our mind was built up to handle any change and any circumstances that might come. For example, if the chief dies, if your child dies, if there's a war, your mind has to be prepared for all these things, and that's why formality is very important, so that you stick to formality and you don't assert your opinion where you could bring danger to the whole group.
Man, does that sound like... So, I'm going to ask you this question before I got two of them right here. So, number one, coming from the East to the West has actually had you to experience being a worse woman than you've ever been in your life. Is that the truth?
Yes, sir. Like I said, the scripture is right. We was born in sin and shaped in iniquity, but I was taught not to practice sin until I was exposed to a different way of life.
Now, so in other words, let me ask you this. So coming to America, has that made you better or worse as a woman?
Worse. I don't recognize myself.
A lot worse. So, but I noticed in the beginning you mentioned something about Straitway. You mentioned how it's pretty much, the way we function is almost like a tribal mentality or tribal or village that you're pretty much used to. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Very much so. I always tease Sister Carol and Sister Ashley. They have such a rich knowledge and spirit that they would do so well in the Eastern culture. No disrespect to any of you sisters. It's just...
I'm going to say disrespect to some of you sisters, because some of you, your ass wouldn't make it at all. There's no way in hell you will make it, not in this type of environment. Some of you are not doing well now. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. For example, like I said, my grandfather had multiple wives. So growing up, as the grandchildren started growing and more children was being multiplied, he had to make provision. And that's why I'm telling you guys that formality is important, because he had a big room and he had to have...
Yeah.
and he had 3 beds for the 3 wives. By the time I have reached of age, those was the 3 that was alive. And to the Western mind, it's so strange, but
you know what? The real truth is, it's really not strange to the Western mind. It's just, you remember I talked to you over and over again about this abstract mentality. You see, they act like they have a problem with polygyny, but they don't have a problem being someone else's sidekick or sideshow. Am I making any sense? So it's all right here in the head, if you understand what I mean. It's all what the veneer or the outside looks like, as opposed to, being responsible. A man being responsible for his family and taking responsibility for the direct family. The women would rather act like that nothing is really truly going on, as long as it's swept under the rug, than to actually function in dignity.
Yes, sir. And that's why the first wife, like I said, she holds
the power, the sway.
Yes, because she's the one who is able to teach the other women how to function in this community, so that the chief is well taken care of. And if you have the chief wife and, she has the power, and you have another wife coming in, and it's different, it will cause friction within the community, because you are now trying to change something that has already been formed, especially based on the education system in this country.
Mm-hmm.
By no means I'm not against education. If I was to go back in the village setting, I would be a danger to the village, because I have
your mind,
a different mindset that I can either destroy the village or make it better.
Yeah, some years ago, we had a pastor passed here through the community. His name was Pastor Kimani, and he was from Africa himself, Nigeria, as a matter of fact. And he stayed with us quite a few days. And him and I, it's probably about maybe 12, 13 years ago, him and I sat down and had some of these same talks. And he would express to me how corrupt America is, and how that even he said it to me that once he got back to his land, that it would take him 30 days to cleanse his spirit from being, immersed in this culture and society and watching the behavior of these people. And when I try to tell people how far we are from a knowledge of self, that you can't expect people to have anything to register when there's nothing to draw from. But however, when I'm standing here or sitting here in front of you trying to tell you exactly what the book says, preaching and teaching you what the book says, and showing you where it is, the truth is, this has to do with a will. This has to do with the will and really truly wanting to conform and transform, because what I'm hearing is, number one, y'all human beings like anybody else. I'm sure y'all had y'all ups and downs as well, but nowhere near as we do here in this country right here. Number two, a lot of times when we're so-called speaking in this world, our mind, we're not really speaking our mind. We're speaking from an emotion that we really truly don't understand, thereby giving place and voice to the demonic spirit that is harassing us, tempting us, driving us, and enticing us. And because we feel it and we're used to this feeling, we've owned it for our own personal self, and we end up attacking each other rather than loving each other. Am I off base?
Not at all. Very on track. It's so much to tell us, to talk to you sisters especially. Like I said, I didn't get the privilege to stay there for a longer time back home to grow in the spirituality as my grandfather, but I know what I see here.
It's an abomination, isn't it? Just go on and tell it. It's an abomination, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The people in America are pretty much monsters.
Yes, evil monsters.
Go ahead and say it louder so he can hear it.
Yes, very evil.
Evil.
Like I said, we was all born in sin and shaped in iniquity, but never have I knowing myself to be this vicious, this evil. With all these demonic things that you learn from this culture. And that's why a community is the best way for women, especially because that's your safe zone. Everything that I live back home is what I see here as Straitway. And I didn't even know the Bible. I didn't read. I didn't speak English. Everything that I learned on how to live was through my grandfather. Was through stories. He telling us stories about the Bible, but he wasn't just saying the story. He was actually living it. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't get to stay there to mature in mind to be able to see clearly like what I see here as Straitway. But now, by the grace of the Most High, I'm able to experience that and see that and know it's right. And like I watch Mother Carol a lot, just how she talk to you and approach you, and so much of us need that. And I know we are striving to get there, but imagine if we all was on a community and everything was in formality, how much more she could teach us. And I was talking to Sister Erica, like how we withhold information from one another. But I thank y'all for the to the Sisters and Sisters Blog Talk, because that's a common ground where sisters could share knowledge to help build you up as a woman, and especially with the message that's coming forth. But everything here at Straitway, without no doubt, is real, because I live it. And for me to come to America and then see that, I'm just I am amazed. And I tell Mother Carol, like, a lot of time, I'm like, for a black woman, you really impress me. Because truthfully, we don't see, I don't see, I have not seen a black woman who would carry herself as if she has been born in the East. And I know it has to be the Most High and what her husband teach her, and how to behave and how to act. And that, I know pastor is one man, but he is doing his best to really teach us to really grasp the formality that the Most High has set for us, so that we could all be at peace. And I know it could be attainable. You just have to just get past yourself.
And get past a lot of this cultural rearing that we've had over here in the West. And because people really truly don't understand, Tomah, how cancerous our minds are, and how much this culture is just satanic to the core. And I'm sure that it's also a blessing for you to actually, you left your country, and you're over here in this wicked country, and then all of a sudden the Most High guides your steps back to a place, or let's say to a place here in this country that pretty much reminds you of your country. It's amazing, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so, I must say. Like, I don't know what else to say about Straitway. It's just everything that I saw and knew, I could see it, and now Mother Carol is really encouraging the sisters to work together, because back home, all the women, we worked together, we ate together, we took care of one another's, children. There was no separation. Our elders were the ones to teach us, like I was telling Erica, she's a young wife, she's a young mother. So automatically, the two elders, my grandfather's wife will look and see that this is a young wife, and they will make themselves available to guide her, to lead her, to establish her as a woman.
That is something to say right there, because in this culture right here, and I'll give you an example. When Sister Carol and I had Chuck and Lydia, all right, my son and daughter, I was around, but I wasn't around much because I did a lot of working, if you understand what I mean. I was gone a lot because of my job. But then when I was at home, Sister Carol pretty much, she would study, read books, you know what I mean, and then not only use the experience, but we picked up early on to not let the children be the one to bring any division with us, if you understand what I mean. But what I'm saying is that when we were gone, most of us men on post, and the military is like a tribal mentality, if you understand. It's like a big tribe because when you have on post housing and you got a lot of the soldiers deployed, whether it be to a field exercise and they're gone 2 or 3 weeks or 3 or 4 months, all you have there in that particular housing community are the wives and the children. And that's how Sister Carol learned how to do a lot of cultural cooking, because she would learn from different cultures because there was diversity there in the military. And not only that, they would actually, kind of like in a village format, they would actually take care of each other's children. They would watch each other's children if one had something important to do, even though they was not on the community or in an African tribe or from the West. This is the way they pretty much function. And today, here in the West, we're so corrupt as a people, because today if somebody instructs your child, if somebody corrects your child, the first thing they do is they go off, think you're trying to hurt their little monster. You understand what I mean? But I can actually honestly say that as far as the children in the early stages, the men, the soldiers, the warriors and stuff, we didn't have pretty much anything to do with those children in the first 4 or 5 years. That was all the women right there, nurturing them and bringing them up and teaching them how to go about their lives as little children, rearing them up, training them up, and how to respect, their father, as well as the men. And the men, they pretty much was the board of education, if you understand what I mean. But I didn't have none of that doing it. Now, if my wife asked me a question or something like that, I would give her an answer. But, the Most High has put a nurturing spirit inside of mothers. Now, you follow me? And it's going to take a mother to teach another mother how to raise a child until that child becomes of age or certain age. Then the man has to take over, because it's going to take a man to raise a boy. That's all there's to it. A man is not going to raise no girl. All right? A man is going to raise a boy, and that's just all there is to it. But I see clearly what you're saying and what you're talking about. It's just disheartening, because I'm sure you hear my words, and it's evident too, because the way you carry yourself, your attitude, the spirit that you have around here. But I'm sure you can also see other things that simply just would not fly in your culture back home with the way that people behave over here. And this is not a browbeat American women or American men. It's just the fact we're already at a lower state. Is that true?
Yes, sir. And the word of the Most High, what Pastor preach, is the only thing that could get us back to this. If you truly want it, loyalty is very important in the tribe. Integrity is very important in the tribe, because this is the vital things that hold the tribe together. Like I said, back home, yes, you was a mother and you was supposed to teach your children, but the village was also vital in your raising your children, because you have elder women there to assist you and y'all wonder one day we get back to that, where Mother Carol could have the time to help the younger women. By no means is she in your personal business. She's just there as your guide, just step by step.
You see it. The younger women today don't want the counsel of the older women.
No, we don't.
They don't. They want to, it's a crazy, chaotic spirit, because what I see today is you got people that want to make mistakes by their own experiences, on purpose, so that they can actually experience the pain rather than trying to avoid the pain through wisdom. It just simply don't make sense. I would tell you one thing, you look at somebody like Sister Angelica. Sister Angelica, I believe that she would be one that would function very, very well in a village and in a tribal format, just simply because of the way her spirit is and her character is. And you can tell just simply by the way that Brother Scott and Sister Angelica is rearing little Judith, you know what I mean? Because we got a little baby on here, but Judith is the youngest right now. Judith is the youngest besides little Gideon, who was just born, but we ain't seen, Gideon is not out yet. But you can tell that, when I watched little Judith in her action, you can tell that she had some very good home rearing and home training, because I watch her when she's over at our house and Sister Carol's watching her. I watch her when you're taking care of her during the day, or Sister Ashley. It's like she can go with anybody and adapt to any environment and not cause any trouble or problem whatsoever at all. And the truth is, most parents wouldn't even want anybody to even watch their children because they have failed greatly in the rearing of their children. Which, if we could just eat a little humble pill, humble pie and stuff, we could actually save ourselves from a lot of heartache and get about building a strong nation. What say you?
I agree. I completely agreed. And like Pastor said about Sister Angelica, that's where the village comes in. Because if she's down, she could go to Mother Carol. She could go to Granny Diane, Granny Barb, Sister Vicky, Sister Ashley. And we all are there to serve one another.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. For instance, I'm going to show you what I observed when y'all don't think I'll be watching. Okay? Sister Angelica just had little Gideon. And little Gideon is probably about, 3 weeks old, something like that, 4 weeks, somewhere along in there. All right. I've noticed sisters taking care of Judah so that dad can go out and do his job. And I've noticed that Brother Scott, he takes care of Judah, as much as he can until it's time for him to go to work. Then he goes to work, then he passes off to the sisters, the responsibility of the sisters. But I noticed that since she is in her shut-in, set-apart time, that y'all sisters are washing her clothes, drying her clothes. Sister Diane and them are bringing her food, her meals, so that she can actually spend more time, this critical set-apart time, which will actually help rear and bring up a nurturing and a closeness, as well as a healthy immune system for the baby. And we're pretty much functioning like a village. Is that true?
Very much so.
You didn't know I was watching, did you?
You are shepherd, so that is there. But yes, sir, you are very right on everything you said. And like me and Erica was talking, it's trying to get back to that, but not everybody will get back to that.
No, they won't.
And like as the men are growing in the village, so the women grow.
Say that again.
As the men are growing in the village, so the women grow.
Hallelujah.
And sisters, the Most High is doing His best to us, and it's up to us to either take it or leave it. But just imagine one day you are on a community in a 7-bedroom house, and you and your family have just a room. Things like this is, where I come from and where Pastor try to, tell us so we could better prepare ourselves, because we have to be ready to, care for the men, care for our village, care for each other, and just consider what I'm saying, and may y'all give you the understanding.
Wow, hallelujah. Sister Tomah, sure do appreciate it.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
All right. Y'all bless you. All right. Now we're going to see how much backlash that Tomah gets from some foul spirit sister after getting up here and exposing the wickedness of the women's spirit as well as the wickedness of men today. So we want to make sure we keep her undergirded and covered. Because there's some devil or some sister that is inspired by some demonic spirit that want to sit back and be so-called objectively disagreeable and try to go in on that because they just simply can't look into nothing like that because they're so used to running their mouth, their flap. And notice I'm using this in a generic form, meaning male and female. But anyway, I thought that was pretty much edifying. I thought it was something that especially American women need to hear. All you have to do is just read the scripture and you know exactly your status and where you stand. Uh-oh, look at him looking.